The last time you saw me, I was quitting YouTube pretty publicly. I even went on a podcast to do so.
Andy, before we get in to what you came in here for, besides from announcing that you're quitting.
So, how did I go from there to here? Welcome to the Vegas video series.
Did I mess up my position?
Your range.
Oh yeah. Nah, I know my directions.
Seven card flush, poker vlog. Take one.
In just a matter of hours. Oh, I made my hair really nice for YouTube. I will be on a plane and on my way to Las Vegas for 3.5 days of nonstop gambling, which is so awesome. And that's what the dog thinks about it. Anyways, time to go home, finish packing, have a White Claw, of course, and get ready for this trip. I can't think of a better way to start this trip than with a little sushi with my wife. We've got this spot over in Apopka, and every time we go there, the food is incredible. Getting out of Orlando was really slow. We got stuck on the tarmac for about 45 minutes, but eventually we got in the air, and 4 hours later, we landed in Vegas. Oh man, we have finally made it. We got delayed on the tarmac by like 45 minutes. That was a really rough flight. There was a lot of turbulence. They had the seatbelt sign on for like the first hour and a half, and then they rewarded us with free alcohol. So we're off to a good start in this trip. Let's go get checked into the room. We're staying at the Park MGM, which is a great location. It's walking distance to Aria and Cosmopolitan with a free tram to Bellagio, plus you're by some of the value resorts like Excalibur in New York, New York. We went over to Excalibur to play some blackjack, and I've never seen a more gross run of cards. It was brutal, and there was nobody we could beat at that casino except ourselves. But ever since we've landed, there's been one thing on my mind, and that's playing poker. So eventually, I had to break from the group. I went over to Aria, and I sat down to play my first game of poker in Vegas, 1-3 with a $500 buy-in. In the first hand of the night, we're in +2, and we look down at Ace-Jack offsuit. When it folds to me, I open the action for $15. We see a call from the button as well as the small blind, so we're 3 ways to the flop. The flop is Jack 4-7 with 2 clubs, so I flop top pair. It checks over to me. I'm going to put out a C-bet here. I fire for $25. It's over on the button, and he seems to be in the blender, but he eventually folds. The small blind folds as well, and it feels good to win that first hand in Vegas. Over the course of about the next 30 minutes, I kind of picked up that the table's very tight. I've opened 3 other hands pre-flop to either $12 or $15 and gotten folds out of the table all 3 times, which might make making money at this table a little bit difficult. You know what's not going to make it difficult? Waking up and under the gun with pocket kings. I opened for $10 this time, looking to get some action. I actually get 3 callers, so we're 4 ways to the flop. The flop is King 5-4 rainbow, so I flop top set. Being first to act, I'm going to start with a check. Checks all the way around to the button, who fires for $15. On me, and I'm not really scared of anything at this point, so I'm just going to flat, which actually brings along the other 2, so we're still 4 ways. The turn is a 9 of diamonds, so it completes the full rainbow. I check again, and it checks all the way to the button, who bets $25 this time. I think the plan is to flat again, and on most rivers, I'll check again and hope that he fires, then I can check raise. Everybody else folds, so we're heads up. The river is a queen of clubs, so 10-jack technically got there, but I just don't see that hand here. I check, and the button takes the bait, and he fires $50. He's got about $235 behind. There's about $190 in the pot. I think a jam is actually too strong with how tight the table's been, so I settle on a raise to $180. My opponent looks a little bit perplexed. 2 check calls and then a check raise on a rainbow board probably looks super strong. Perhaps I should have gone a touch smaller because he gives it up, but we win this one. We're under the gun again, this time with a slight downgrade to pocket queens. I open the action for $12. The button is my only caller, so we're off to the flop heads up. The flop is king 3-5 with 2 hearts, pretty similar to the last board. I start with a check, and my opponent checks behind. The turn's a 6 of hearts. I have the queen of hearts, so I've got a flush draw. So I bet $20, but my opponent folds before I can even get it out. We're in +1 this time, and we have king 9 of hearts. I open the action for $12. We see calls from +2 and the blind, so we're 4 ways to the flop. The flop is king queen 4 with 2 spades, so I flop top pair. It checks over to me. I bet $20 with my top pair. Perhaps a non-believing queen can call me. Plus, there's value to get from flush draws. The small blind is the only caller, so we're heads up. The turn is a 4 of clubs. It checks to me again. I'm going to keep firing. I fire for $45 this time for all the reasons previously stated, and my opponent pretty quickly folds. In the very next hand, I'm under the gun and I look down at ace-jack offsuit. I open the action for $15. The button, once again, is the only caller, so we're heads up to a flop. The flop is 10-4-6 with 2 diamonds, so I have 2 overs. I start with a check, and my opponent checks behind. The turn is a jack of diamonds, so now I've made top pair, but it completes the diamond flush draw. Given how soft the table has been, I decided to just go ahead and lead for $20. I want to charge a naked diamond or perhaps an underpair. My opponent doesn't waste too much time, and he jams for $45 total. It's 25 more, so of course I call. The river's a 9 of diamonds, and I don't have a diamond, and I tell him if he does, he's good, and he shows me ace deuce with the ace of diamonds, so he's going to take this small pot. There's an under the gun straddle. We're on the button with pocket 8s. We see a middle position raise to $12. It folds over to me, and given how tight the table is, I elect to just flatten position. The under the gun straddler comes along as well, so we're 3 ways to the flop. The flop is king 10-8, so we flop bottom set. It checks to me, and I'm going to go ahead and put a small bet out of $17. With how passive this table's been, I think this is the best way to start getting value now. Looking back though, it's way too cheap with so many draws available. Both players end up making the call, and so we're still 3 ways. The turn is the queen of diamonds, so it does bring in a straight draw. It checks over to me again, and looking for some more value, I fire for $40 this time. Again, looking back, it's such a small bet on such a dangerous board. I think I like a check here much better. It folds over to the hijack, who then jams for $305. I mean, ace-jack is so obvious, but there's also flush draws. A really good player can probably fold here, but I am not that, so I make the call. The river's a 9 of spades. It's just a terrible card, and if I was somehow ahead, I don't think I am anymore. He shows me ace-jack for the straight. Can't say I'm that surprised, especially how tight this table is. It was a really bad call on the turn, because if he doesn't have a straight, what am I beating there? If he has a set, I'm crushed. I'm really only beating hands like ace-king or jacks or flush draws, and I just don't think those hands are plausible given the way the hand played out. A little bit of bad luck and a little bit of bad play. So now that I've lost this big hand, I notice the table's loosening up a bit. I was gonna rack up and head over to Bellagio, but with the Vlogging Optimal C opening up, I had to stick around, so I add on for $200 more. We're in the cutoff, and for the 3rd time tonight, we look down at ace-jack offsuit. We see 1 limp before it gets to me, and I bump it up to $12. We see a call from the small blind and +1, so we're 3 ways in position. The flop is king 5-4 rainbow. It checks over to me, and I don't want to check here. I think it's the pre-flop raiser. I can have a king here a lot of the time, so I fire for $25. +1 is the only caller, and so we're heads up. The turn is a king of hearts. It pairs the board. My opponent checks it over to me again, and I think this turn card just has to smash my range, and so I'm going to bet again. This time I fire for $100. If he calls, I have about $200 left, and I think I'm just going to have to go with it at this point. He gives it some thought. He reaches for some chips, but he ends up folding. The final hand of the night is pretty crazy. The big blind's looking for some action, and he says he's going to raise blind. When the cards are dealt, I'm in +1, and I have pocket queen.
Get in there. Put this one on TV.
Knowing that he's going to raise, and he did this on the last hand, I elect to just flat. +2 thinks calling is stupid, and he raises to $15. It folds over to the big blind, who then sticks to his word, and he fires for $70.
What the f? You found race? I haven't looked. You messed up my plan.
It's back on me, and what a spot. I obviously have to raise here, and I kind of make a mistake and I only make it $160. Against a middle position open and a blind raise, I have to be in pretty good shape here. +1 folds and it's back to the blind, and he wastes no time jamming. It's for my whole stack, $340. He's probably looked by now, but in this spot, I'm never folding, so I call. He immediately flips over pocket aces and starts talking shit.
Really? Yeah, put this on TV.
Let's go. Don't love the fact that he's running his mouth, and it really is kind of a brutal way to end our first night in Vegas.
That is kind of a tilting way to start this Vegas vacation. Let's recap. The pocket eights hand, I don't know, with the dynamics of the table, I think I have to be a little bit smarter there and realize that, you know, he made his hand on the turn. I mean, I still have plenty of board pairing outs, but, you know, a really good player, I think, could have gotten away from that. And then, you know, the table started to loosen up, and I went card dead there for a good hour and 10 minutes. So it's getting late, you know, it's 1:45 in the morning here, so it's 4:45 in the morning my time. So I've been up 20 hours, and, you know, then I get the pocket queens hand, and, you know, this guy, he was looking to gamble. First of all, when he found out I had a YouTube channel, he fucking came after me. He's definitely a regular here. He knew everybody, and he came after me. And I mean, whatever. That's fine. People want to make the vlog. I don't give a shit about that. But just to have it go down that way, you know, where he says he's going to raise, and then the guy to my left puts in the raise, and then he re-raises, and I thought, here it is. Here's my chance to get back to even, and I can go back to the room and call it a night. And then he wakes up with aces. You know, he said he didn't look at his hand until after I put in the 150. I'll have to go back to the footage and look at it. But just not the greatest way to start 4 days in Las Vegas. I can say that. So we were into the game tonight for $700, and we were out for 0. Let's see what tomorrow holds. If you guys enjoy, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more poker content. And you can follow me on Instagram at 7cardflushpoker.